I want to respond to some comments that I saw on the last video before I go to the airport. This is pretty much sums up the sentiment of some of the negativity. I've seen a lot of negative comments and angry comments. I don't know what people get so angry about, but this one from James Hubbard 6139 says, "Dude, how dare you skim over the fact that NBA subsidizes this whack ass league? It has lost money for 25 plus years. The owners have to make money and the players have to generate money, not just Caitlin Clark." And Twiggy90 says, "I thought Robin was a real one. Even after finding out he has been a mainstream media guy his whole life, I still thought he was honest, but not anymore. Sad. Looks like." Okay, what was I dishonest about in the last video? That would be my first question. I'm pretty sure I mentioned the subsidized thing, and we'll circle back to that in a second. First of all, I don't choose a side. All right. I want to clear, and for those of you calling me the typical woke journalist in there too, I don't know what that means either. Judge me for my words and what I say. And I think sometimes people have a problem that actually I get complimented for this more so than anything. So I understand that there are to all of you out there who are watching and appreciating and not part of the the brigade of anger. I do appreciate that, like Julie from Australia, who stopped me and specifically mentioned that, and someone in Indy stopped me and specifically mentioned that as well. But you're not going to see me like trying to either prove point A or point B as much as if I have point A or point B, of course I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid to state my opinion. But I want to touch on a few things from those comments and circle back to last night for a second. Of course, one's perspective is going to be different when you're in the arena, right? And when you're around the players. That's a different way to consume something than when you're at home. And I have no doubt in my mind the WNBA All-Star Game was a terrible television product. No doubt in my mind. Because in attendance, I was more focused on the other story which was unfolding in front of my eyes than the actual on-court product. And I have smashed the NBA All-Star Game in recent years, and the WNBA All-Star Game is in fact presented as sort of the antithesis of that, or was, especially off of last year's Olympic game, which was sensational. So eventually it was going to happen. That's what All-Star games are. But I'm sure that sucked as a television product, and you're within your rights to complain about it or say it was a waste of time or any of those other things. But when you're around people who are smiling and cheering and all that and having a good time in the streets, and you see the players having a good time, that is a more celebratory atmosphere to be a part of. If you understand, can you understand that simple concept? And then when you were talking about the other thing, the pay, I'm sorry, that is also a simple concept to grasp. Look, when I say the fans cheering is a win for the players, yeah, when you feel like you have fan support, that's going to be a win for the players. Does a t-shirt mean they're going to win the negotiation? No. To the point about Caitlin Clark is that a problem? Yeah, I do think it hurts your overall argument when so much of the success is based around one player, but they have that player as part of their collective. If Caitlin Clark was against them, that'd be a big problem. But Caitlin Clark was wearing the shirt. That's a big statement. And Caitlin Clark, I said that shirt could basically say, pay us what you owe her. And it's a little ironic, I guess, considering the blowback that she has gotten, that she is, everybody knows, I'm sure, how integral she is to this aspect, but she's also not the only player in the league. And one of the things I've pointed out numerous times throughout the growth of the league is there's so many different banners hanging around Indianapolis, and those banners feature players that people now know who they didn't know before, which is a big deal. And when you go to the plain dollars and cents of it, which is what a CBA negotiation is going to be about, the bottom line is the bottom line, as I said before. And yes, the NBA has subsidized the league. And yes, the league has not made money. And it's hard to argue for a share of something that you haven't made money of, but you can argue for the percentage share of the revenue, which is what the players are doing, like the NBA. Now, I don't know how it's going to work on the back end with the NBA owners, but nonetheless, the root of the argument is the players want more of a share of the revenue, more of a revenue split. And the revenue is going to go up, Because another thing, geniuses, is that the growth from this league has not hit the league. This year has not hit the league yet. The growth has not hit the league yet because the media rights deal has not come into effect. But even at the press conference, Kathy Engelbert was saying the ratings are up 23% or something like that. It was over 20% this year. The attendance is up the same this year, right? And so the league does continue to grow. And when you see the amount of attention it gets and the amount of blowback it gets for a nationally televised All-Star game, you are taken aback by the fact that somebody's salary might be $75,000. So the salaries are going to go up. But why do you think I framed my question to Nafisa Collier in the way I did? Which was just forget even her answer. Don't forget her answer, but you know what I mean. This is the reason I framed this question this way.
Hi, Fee. Obviously, you made a statement with your play, but you guys made a statement about the pay today, and it said, "Pay us what you owe us" on the shirts. It's going to get a lot of attention. If you could just say in the simplest form to those who are just getting aware of this now, what do you mean by what you owe us?
The players are what is building this brand in this league. There is no league without the players, and the past, present, the ones coming up, they're the ones that have put in the blood, sweat, and tears for the new money that's coming in. And so we feel like we are owed a piece of that pie that we helped to create. So that's basically what that is.
So her answer, the biggest part of her answer to me is the new money that's coming in. There is more money coming in. So yes, the one thing can be true about the losses. Another thing can be true. The money's coming in. Secondly, when I say owe us, that was a specific question because I have a question. What does that mean? Maybe what we're deserved, what you're owed is in the last CBA. That's the agreed upon thing. And, clarify the ask from a money standpoint because people are going to want to know. But Fee and Caitlin said it before the game too. Basically, the constant message is about the revenue share, the revenue split, which would inherently raise up the salaries. But of course, the players want higher salaries. Everybody in every job wants higher salaries. And every union wants to present a united front. And every company hates the union. I mean, let's be real about it. But ultimately, I think it's all a messy back and forth that will get resolved. I sense from Kathy Engelbert's tone, it's another thing, before the game, she thought they made a lot of progress, or she thought they made positive strides. This is way negotiations like this go, is people presenting their side and negotiating in public. That happens all the time in sports CBAs, all the time. And I kind of just brush it off because unless the deadlines are missed, unless part of the season is missed, it's the typical same song and dance. I don't know why people get so angry about it because the WNBA is used for fun. You're allowed to have your own problems with anything anybody says or does. But it does feel like the WNBA becomes a fodder machine for takes and then rage bait. So don't throw your rage bait at me when I'm just telling you what I think and trying to analyze the entire situation. One more thing. Sabrina Ionescu had a good comment about the All-Star game quality after the game. And what could have played into a factor?
I think obviously it's fun. I think it probably would have been a little bit more competitive if teams didn't play in such a short amount of days. And I think that's something as we're talking, obviously, into our CBA and understanding like All-Stars don't really have a break. We finish, we get on a flight the next day, we're here, jam-packed weekend, wanting to pour into the fans, show up to events, do three-point contests, skills contests, and then play in a game and fly right back to practice and play in 3 days. And so I think that's something, obviously as players, we want to be able to come out here during this time, put on a great show for the fans, but also take care of our bodies because we don't have time. We enter now a grueling second half of the season and teams are trying to make playoff pushes. Players are trying to get back from injury. And so I think obviously that's something as players we got to continue to stand on is maybe trying to get a few more days to where, we can have a little bit more competitiveness in these games. But overall, I think it was amazing. Like I saw, I think the highest score ever recorded. And so excited to be just a part of history and excited for everyone to be able to go back, hopefully a little bit refreshed and recharged for the second half of the season.
So those comments, by the way, reflect also some of the reaction I saw from the crowd and not the comment section. But to her point, I was in Brooklyn Wednesday and then Indy to cover the game over the weekend. And now I'll be back in Brooklyn on Tuesday, and I don't have to play. And now players are having to do that with all the other obligations in between. So to call it an all-star break is indeed insane.